We're at Disc 5, Making the Alien Anthology. Okay, of course, like all the rest of these discs, we have a lot to cover here, so let's get right into it.
I think people keep making alien movies in a way because unconsciously I'm convinced people actually are as disappointed as I am in filmmakers' inability to match the quality of the first one.
One Step Beyond, Making Alien Resurrection. Now the first chapter in this is called From the Ashes, Reviving the Story. Basically what this featurette talks about is how at first people really believed that the whole alien thing was done with Alien 3, and there was a definitive end with Ripley diving into the fire, and that the series was finally finished. They came to Joss Whedon, of all people, and asked him to write a script for Alien 4. This featurette also has interviews and clips from Sigourney Weaver and Winona Ryder. And Winona Ryder, I guess they thought she wasn't going to be interested in this, but she was on board with it right away. But there were people that really felt that this script would be the end of the Alien franchise, and that it really wouldn't work. But the studio decided that this script had to be done, and this movie had to be made regardless. Okay, Chapter 2, French Twist, Direction and Design. Now this rather long feature is mostly about how they decided to hire Jean-Pierre Jeunet to film Alien Resurrection, and the crew that basically he brought over from France to create a different view for the whole Alien franchise. Overall, this feature even as long as it actually is really interesting. It shows a lot of interviews from now and old interviews as well, and it also meshes the original behind the scenes footage and uses some of that, and it's actually a really interesting featurette. Chapter 3, Under the Skin, Casting and Characterization. Now basically what this feature is, even though it's smaller than the last one, it shows of course the cast, and it has a lot of the cast from like the background characters rather than the obvious ones like Sigourney Weaver and Winona Ryder, even though they're in this too. This one actually focuses more on J.E. Freeman as Dr. Ween, Leland Orser as Purvis, Ron Perlman as Johnner, and Brad Dourif as Dr. Gadaman. Overall, this isn't too bad of a feature. It also shows a lot of the behind the scenes and even some bloopers here and there, and it was pretty good. Overall, I rather enjoyed this one. Chapter 4, Death from Below, Fox Studios, Los Angeles, 1996. Okay, once again we have a rather long featurette, but the main part of this featurette is that they built a large tank or a large swimming pool to film all the underwater scenes that you see in Alien Resurrection. And they actually built this set. It's not something that they just CGI'd and threw in there. They actually built everything, and it is really, really cool to watch this and see how they designed it and designed all the underwater hookups and everything in this whole featurette. It's a really good featurette and one of the better featurettes I think on this disc. Chapter 6, In the Zone, the basketball scene. Okay, I actually got really excited about this featurette. I really wanted to see this, because this is actually one of my favorite scenes in Alien Resurrection, is the whole basketball scene. Unfortunately, there's not much I can tell you about it. It's rather short, but it is like one of the best featurettes on this disc because it actually has footage, behind the scenes footage, of something that I can't talk about. You just have to see it. That's just the way it is. You have to see this footage. And it's one of the best scenes in the movie, and it is one of the best scenes so far in this Alien Resurrection. All I can say is definitely watch this feature. Chapter 7. Unnatural Mutation. Creature Design. Okay, this featurette is a lot like the others on Alien and Aliens and Alien 3. They show a more evolved facehugger. They show a more evolved alien overall. And of course, the obvious one is the newborn alien. As far as content goes, it's pretty much the same as the other featurettes of this. One of the interesting parts I found in this featurette was the alien eggs and how they made them evolve from what they were in the previous films to what they are in here. There are a lot of behind the scenes footage that I've never seen before, and this is just, it's amazing to me how much behind the scenes footage there is. Chapter 8. Genetic Composition. Music. Okay, this featurette is pretty much straightforward. I mean, there's not a lot of gray area here. It's all about John Frizzell, the composer, and how he did the music for Alien Resurrection. But I do have to say this. I actually didn't pay that much attention to the musical score until I watched this. Now, if I was to go back and watch the movie, I'd actually pay a little more attention to the musical score after watching this featurette. Because it did make a lot of sense, and it seems like they gave this composer a lot more time to work on the musical score than they did with the previous composers. It's a short featurette, but it's actually entertaining. Chapter 8. Virtual Aliens. Computer-generated imagery. Okay, once again, we have a pretty straightforward featurette. It's obvious that this is all about the computer-generated alien that they put into the film. But there are some interesting aspects of this featurette. One of them being the way they did the script. I found it pretty cool that not only did they have the script the way it was, but they actually added storyboards to the script so that people could actually see exactly what was written. Another interesting fact I found in here was that they used the CGI effect group that did Joe's Apartment, which I always thought was an interesting film, and they used the same effect group to create the CGI alien. Like I said, this featurette is pretty straightforward. Other than those two interesting facts, there's not a whole lot to this one. Chapter 9. A Matter of Scale. Miniature Photography. Okay, this is another straightforward featurette. Not much difference in this one than some of the previous featurettes of miniature photography. Pretty much shows exactly that. All the technical aspects of them doing the miniatures and creating the miniatures. It is interesting, it's very technical, but this one actually, out of all the featurettes on this final film, is the most boring. It's not to say that this wasn't any good, it's just very technical, and I would see a lot of people getting very bored with watching this featurette. It's filmed very well. They show a lot of behind the scenes footage once again, but they get caught up in a lot of the technical aspects of the lighting, and it's just it gets really dull after a while. Chapter 10. Critical Juncture. Reaction to the film. So far, with each segment of this Blu-ray, Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection, they've done this featurette where they show the cast or crew reactions to the film and when the film came out. They have a little bit of that in this featurette, but most of it is them talking about what would happen if they made a fifth Alien film, or where they can take the series from this point on. And it's actually kind of interesting, some of their responses. And one of them actually is about to come true. And for me, I have to say, I would like to see another Alien film pick up from where Alien Resurrection left off. The only problem is I never liked the ending of Alien Resurrection. So I don't know exactly how they would do it, but I would like to see another Alien movie with Ripley, picking up after Alien Resurrection.